This afternoon, Justin Trudeau will testify at the Finance Committee, and Canadians will have an opportunity to judge his answers for themselves. Will he answer straightforward questions directly? Or will he skate, as he has repeatedly done so in the past? Will he blame hardworking members of the public service for his failures, or throw members of his team under the bus? Will he try to use the pandemic to justify this corruption? Or hide behind cabinet confidences, as he did during the SNC-Lavalin scandal? Or for once, will he come clean and tell Canadians the truth? Canadians have a lot of questions about Justin Trudeau's $900 million scandal, and they deserve clear answers. But if history is any indication, they will be let down once again. During the course of the SNC-Lavalin ethics investigation, 9 witnesses were prevented from testifying, and the ethics commissioner, in his Trudeau 2 report, details how the government used cabinet confidences to deny him access to evidence. So you'll forgive me if I don't just take Justin Trudeau at his word when he promises to cooperate. Now, as a result of Trudeau's latest scandal, both he and Finance Minister Bill Morneau are under investigation for breaking ethics laws, and Conservatives have asked the RCMP to launch a criminal investigation. This entire scandal reeks of corruption at the highest levels of government. We know that after Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister, we started paying members of his family. Over the last 5 years, those payments have totaled more than $500,000. We know that Justin Trudeau's government has rewarded we with multiple sole source contracts over the past 5 years, well before they ever dreamt up the Canada Student Service Grant. We know that we was facing financial difficulties, and that they sent 2 separate proposals to various Liberal ministers to help bail them out. And we know that Justin Trudeau and Bill Morneau turned around and handed their friends at we almost $1 billion contract under the guise of supporting youth during this pandemic. The close ties between Justin Trudeau, the Liberal Party, and we go back over a decade. Now, it is well known that we sells corporate sponsorship packages to corporations to promote their products to the young people involved in we. And we know that they pitch those same corporations with statistics as to how the image of those companies are improved with the young people at those we events. I would argue that in many ways, Justin Trudeau is we's most prominent corporate sponsor. He gives them millions of dollars of Canadians' taxpayer money and acts as a prominent booster. And in exchange, we gives Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party a platform to promote their policies and speak directly with millions of young people. He's doing the same thing those corporations are doing, except he's doing it with your money. Well, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. We're hoping that the Prime Minister will provide simple answers. Why was the announcement made for over $900 million when there was only a plan in place to spend a little more than half of that? Was the Prime Minister aware of some of these details, as I've outlined today? We're being told by the public, by members who have testified, including senior Liberal politicians, that this was the only organization that could deliver this type of service. We also know that this organization, we, had never delivered anything like this in the past. So who arrived at the conclusion? We know from other groups, other charities that have a strong record of providing services to young people and running these types of programs. We're not even allowed to submit a proposal. Why? Who made that decision? Who made the decision not to do evaluations of other types of organizations? These are the types of questions we have. We also have questions about what the Prime Minister knew and when he knew it, because that's important. Because if he knew about some of these things and he allowed it to proceed, well then he will be admitting that he played a role in this corruption. And if he didn't know, that means that nobody did due diligence on a $900 million program. Nobody bothered to check. Nobody evaluated this group of organizations. That's why it's so important that we get these answers, but I'm not holding my breath. We've seen Justin Trudeau dodge and weave and bob and weave in the past, and I'm no doubt that he'll have many rehearsed answers that go on for minutes and minutes at a time, running up the clock at committee. We're hoping he won't do that, but we've seen him do that in the past. You know, Justin Trudeau has effectively sidelined Parliament during this pandemic. There won't be future sittings of the House of Commons until well into September. There was a time not so long ago when Canadian politicians, the government of Canada, had a higher standard of ethics, and just being under investigation would be enough for a minister to step aside to allow the government to continue to operate without the cloud of scandal. And if they were found innocent of the charges, they would return to their posts, and if they were found guilty, they would of course stay out of cabinet. That is not going to happen under Justin Trudeau. His standard for ethics is obviously much, much lower. But members of the Liberal Party have the power. They have the tools at their disposal. They have the leverage at their hands to show Canadians that we will not accept this in this country. We will not accept a Prime Minister using $900 million of your tax dollars to promote himself and his policies and give himself a partisan advantage. Liberal members of Parliament have that ability. We'll see at committee today whether Liberals on that committee, whether it's members or the chair of the committee, will they use their opportunities today to protect the Prime Minister, or will they allow Canadians to get the answers that they deserve? And we'll see this afternoon.